I've got that on my itinerary. So this was found, Travis brought it over today, but it's the parcel that's included in the quick.
Okay.
I guess the two parcels, he had that,
Okay.
so. Okay, we're live. But he brought that over today. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I have the original form to sign?
Sure.
Debbie's on it.
I brought as well.
This one, because we can have them sign both of them. I'll keep one, you take one. How's that sound?
Okay. I also have the,
Oh, that's better. I'll take yours.
Just doing good, Perry. How are you?
Too many pieces of paper.
Hey, we're good, right? Yeah. Okay.
not bad. How are you? It was good. It was good. It was a lot of driving. So.
Yeah.
You sound like it.
She adjusted well.
Yeah, she's doing well. It's tough to leave. But
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yep, we're ready.
Call this October 11th.
Everybody.
I need good tape.
Oh, I forgot to do the microphone. There you go.
Call this October 11th meeting to order. If you'll stand, join me with pledge and a prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless our county and our nation. We ask that you give us guidance, wisdom, making good decisions for our county, that we be pleasing unto you. All these things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes of last month's meeting? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Commissioners had an opportunity to review the claims, and if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Commissioners had an opportunity to review the payroll, and if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. On reports, I have one from Elwood Fire Protection for the Youth Center for the kitchen fire suppression. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept is presented.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I have the monthly report from the Treasurer's Office. Do
Motion
I-
to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do
I second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I have a monthly report from Weights and Measures. Do I have a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, I have a notice of public hearing from the Indiana Department of Transportation. That is this evening at the Bundy Auditorium at 6 o'clock, is to discuss Highway 3.
Hang on, mine's out of. I must not have that one. That's okay. Go ahead.
So, are you doubting me?
No? Maybe?
Maybe.
No.
The project located
Oh, there
on
it is. It's behind.
State Highway 3, known as locally as Memorial Drive, from 3.14 miles north of Interstate 70, Shirley Lynn Drive, north of State Road 38, known as locally as Broad Street. Project involves full-length, depth, hot asphalt mix, pavement reconstruction of two 12-foot wide travel lanes in each direction, existing 16-foot wide two-way left turn lane. Median will be removed and raised asphalt concrete median will be installed with northern project area from 38 to Trojan Lane. Elimination of the median will result in traffic accessing properties via right-hand and right-hand in and out only. So there will be I imagine, a heated discussion this evening for anyone who wants to attend. So that's for information purposes only. I also have Indiana Department of Environmental Management is a decision approved effective immediately from Grady Foundry. This is for their permit number 46409 for a draft permit, final decision. Their administrative changes in nature, what is the action? This is information for us apparently only, so there's no vote required on that. And there's public notice from rehabilitation of bridge on County Road 75 North. Mr. Copeland, do you have any comment on that? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept these reports?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to accept the reports as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, I have claims for food and beverage projects. One for Knightstown for $11,200 for their billboards. Do I have a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this claim.
This is just the ongoing food and beverage.
Yeah, I think they're pretty well done. I think
Yep.
there's very little left in there.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Penny, since Corey's not here.
Good morning. Thanks for your time. Corey's gone this week, but we're still responding to leads. We responded to a couple of leads this week. Nothing definitive, but just our initial response. And so he's coordinating some of that while he's out of town this week. So just because he's gone doesn't mean progress doesn't still move forward. And I'm attending that hearing tonight. That's important to our businesses. It feels like it's already been decided from what I've heard, but maybe I'm wrong, and so we'll see what happens there this evening. So I sent Steve a note about our implicit bias training. I've only got 17 people signed up right now, just a couple in county government. I just want you guys to be aware of it, that we're going to have seats for 150 people, so it kind of scares me a little bit. But I went to every office holder here, saw many office holders right before this meeting, went to the Masonic building. Aaron Dickens helping me, and so he's going to go to the judicial building to get, just encourage people to sign up. Like somebody said, oh, we were going, we didn't know we had to sign up. So anyway, QR code, few details on there. It's a week from today, so I know we don't want to waste our several $1,000s.
I think I signed up. I know I have it on my calendar.
Right, somebody else had it on their
I
calendar.
have it on my calendar, but I haven't signed up.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's only 2 people in county government signed up
Okay.
right now.
Well, it's on my
So
calendar.
anyway, that makes me nervous.
Okay.
And when I went to offices, people were like, we didn't know we had to sign up. So anyway, just concerned. And so can we send out another
No, and I just submitted mine, so,
We need to, when we send that email, make sure that some people, because I didn't know.
that they have to
we need
register?
sign up too.
Yeah,
So maybe in the email, make sure we
Okay.
let people know they have to.
okay,
sign.
yeah, okay.
I mean, I think before maybe they've done a letter that says there's nothing really in or whatever, so anyway, let's hope we can get the attendance up.
Well, I just signed up for it, just as we spoke. You're welcome.
I look forward to seeing you there. And then it's an A or B, you checked it off, so. And she said she thinks it'll only be about an hour and a half, so people can hopefully get away from their offices and shifts. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been asked to have the coroner.
Hey, Brian, make sure that mic's on. Is it green?
Good morning. Just wanted to give a quick update for Henry County residents and the general public. Last month, the month of August 2023, we had 5 overdose deaths for the county. That's a lot. I don't know that it's a lack of prevention or education because we have a lot of community groups that do that, but that is a very high number for our county. That's 5 overdose deaths for August 2023. So that's all I got. Thank you. Oh, the age ranges. Yes, the age ranges was 28 to 72. 28 years young to 72 years young on those deaths. So I know we talked about xylazine. Angela's put some published some stuff in the last 6 months to a year. We are seeing xylazine here in
And
Henry
Narcan
County.
does not,
And
Narcan does not counter.
not work on xylazine, nor does it work on some of the synthetic opioids that we're seeing. It's just real bad stuff. So, 5 deaths. Yeah, it wouldn't even be that many, right? So,
Really?
yeah, it was a bad month. So.
Angela.
I'm just going to tag on to the end of that. You know, we have a lot of conversation in a lot of groups across the county about that particular thing. And I think what interested me the most or concerned me the most was the age range. And that is something that I am seeing in some of the conversations in literature that is coming through. You know, sometimes you think about this being in our younger population, in our late teens, 20s, maybe even to 30s. But, you know, we talk about generational issues with substance use. We are now in that era where we are seeing people our age still using and haven't found a way out and overdosing. And when you pick something up off of the street, I mean, this is just common sense. You don't know where that's coming from. You don't know who's touched it. You don't know what it's been wrapped in. And, you know, it poses this a huge threat for our EMS and especially our law enforcement officers. You know, when they arrive on the scene, our first responders, you know, if you think about something that strong that is going to cause somebody to die like that, when they respond, they're touching things. And, you know, and I know they're wearing gloves, but all it takes is, oh, my eye itched, and you flick it like this, or you know, give your nose a twitch, and then I've got 2 casualties, or I've got two patients now. I've got a police officer or an EMS person. You know, so I don't know how to just express to the public that we just need to really start paying attention to this. And I don't want to harp on it, and I don't want to, we've got so many wonderful things going on, but 5 in 1 month, once that hits the state, I'm going to get a call. And they're going to go, okay, Angela, what the heck is going on in your county? You know, we'll get those updates. And so I don't know, Brian, is that something that gets reported to law enforcement? I mean, are we looking at a bad batch of something that came through the county?
We work with the detective division and the all those tests.
Okay.
And then they pass that on to the drug test.
Okay. And so just kind of a heads up looking forward with some of the key performance indicators with the new money that we opted into. 2024 is going to be in an assessment and a planning year, and I will be coming back and holding lots of discussion with a lot of stakeholders about, what is the word? It's just left me. Things that we can do and put into place with substance use, you know, for example, and I'm giving this as an example, I'm not saying that this is where we're heading, but needle exchange, you know, there's other stuff beside needle exchange, lots of other stuff. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about too, to look at our county and see what makes sense, you know, whether it's something we need to go ahead and look at. So I'll come back to this when we're talking about the transition house. So, do you guys have any questions for me about that? That's just profound.
It is. And what's more shocking is it's the 72-year-old. I'm assuming it was illegal drugs. I don't know, was it prescription? I mean, did they accidentally overdose, or it was an actual, and that's shocking. But you're right, it is generational. I mean, long-term.
Long-term. If you didn't think it was long-term, it's long-term.
Long-term.
Super long-term. Okay, thank you.
We'll kind of piggyback on that, and I saw Jamie walk in. The Rock the Recovery, am I saying it right? Was that named right? Rock the Recovery event that was last Saturday?
The 30th.
The 30th.
Yep.
That was well attended, and there were some inspiring stories from people who are on recovery. So it can happen, but it was an inspiring event. And one of the gentlemen that organized it was a JCAP graduate out of the jail, which makes it even. Anything makes it proud, but to know that we're having that kind of success at the JCAP program at the jail is even more inspirational, I think. That we're doing something, we can do something.
Yeah. I just want lastly to say thank you to our coroner and thank you to you all, because since my tenure here, there's been a time where we would not have done 5 toxicology screens. I would have been lucky to have gotten 1 done. But we have someone at the helm now who is leading with purpose, and he's figuring out ways to pay for these things because it's expensive, you know. And that's a lot of the reason that we didn't have a large. We still don't have a large coroner's budget, but those are so important things. And him catching that will pave the way for us to qualify for grants to actually address the things that we're seeing. So thank you for helping with the finances, and thank you, Brian, for your leadership.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Mr. Copeland, do you have anything? You don't want to weigh in on the Highway 3 thing?
Highway 3, State Road 3.
I mean, you don't have to, but I know I've been up and down 3 the last few weeks, talked to several of the business owners, and so far they understand, but no one seems to be really happy. They think it's going to do more harm to them than good. So I want to know what you thought.
My opinion is I think you're right. The fellow that come up with that to try to get around all the accidents they're having is not in that position anymore. District traffic engineer, he's went on to another position. So they have a new district traffic engineer at Greenfield. They're setting it up like they did in Greenfield on State Road 9, all right? I like the idea of total reconstruction of the concrete pavement. That needs to be done. It's terrible. And they're going back with asphalt, which is easier, I think, to maintain. So, and I'm surprised. But the thing that bothers me the most is emergency vehicles. You're looking at curb and a center curb, okay? Or a center median. Problem I have is when that light goes red and all lanes are filled, 2 lanes plus a left turn, there's nowhere for those emergency vehicles to go. Greenfield, they have a shoulder. they can reach out and go around on a shoulder. Not here. So I have made my intentions known. I can't make it tonight, but I am going to write comments in to the design engineer. I know the design engineer, so Jeff Brickbell, and comment on the idea of using what they call traffic signal preemption. I used it in Hancock on Mount Comfort Road, and what it does is you have a transmitter inside the emergency vehicles, and they put this equipment on the traffic signal. There's a piece that mounts up on the cable, and then they have to, of course, put it in the cabinet. But they can come along and hit a switch, send a signal to that traffic signal, and it will change to green for them. So when they get to a traffic signal, it will automatically be green so that traffic will continue to move instead of them being stuck there for minutes, okay? Depending on the side traffic, you know, how long that'll stay red. But it'll be a continuous flow all the way down 3. And I've made my comments known to the traffic, or the design engineer and some other people about it. So, and then the question was, it's expensive. Well, my thoughts are, NDOT's causing the problem.
Correct.
NDOT needs to take care of it. And that includes putting the equipment in the traffic signal, or on the traffic signal, handing out, paying for transmitters in all the emergency vehicles that would be going through there. And they usually get you on the backside, which they did. Maintenance. It's got to be maintained. NDOT will maintain it all. So,
Is there, like Penny said, it's more than likely a done deal. Is there any opportunity for this decision to be reversed to do? I understand their reasoning behind it, but sometimes I think that the state may skew their numbers a little bit to get what they want.
the idea of this is to, of course, reduce accidents. You know, when you've got, you know, multi-left turn. I talked to the design engineer this morning, and he said that it's not been totally pushed to the side. He said it still could be a possibility. I believe this is getting federal funding. The Fed should pay for this. Shouldn't have a problem with it because they're causing a problem. There's going to be a huge number of U-turns. Get ready. I live in Greenfield now, and you see them. They're even putting signs there that says no, or turn on red, but something about, then it goes on to say, yield to U-turn. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing them all over the place in Greenfield. So
I could see my 83-year-old mother trying to do a U-turn.
The traffic engineer that's been in there for a while, I don't know his degree, he's calling, or was calling, he's gone now. Another fellow's in there, I heard this. But I am gonna send something to the state.
I can't make that meeting tonight, but I know Steve is. Joe, are you going to it tonight? I have another meeting that I have to attend, so I won't be going, but I would encourage everybody to go.
I think if they keep the center curve, then vehicle, the traffic signal preemption is necessary. I am now a property owner, and if I have a heart attack, I want to get in there quick. Okay, so, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Mr. Rust.
Good morning. I've got two things in front of me here that need approval for a planning review services professional service proposal. and a stormwater ordinance technical standards professional service proposal. Susan Bakken is the one that's from Christopher Burke. We sort of went with them because they're the drainage, what I'd say, me and Joe both agreed that they're excellent on drainage. Our ordinance hadn't been updated since 2003, and I'm going to let her discuss both of these, a little bit on them, and if you got questions, she'll be glad to answer them.
So I'll start with the stormwater ordinance and technical review standards. What you currently have is good, but it could definitely be updated just as everything else. One thing is to go to a set release rate so that engineers can't manipulate numbers to get out of putting in detention. It also updates your charts and technical stuff that are in there. The other thing it does is it provides floodplain compensation, which currently if somebody develops in the floodplain, that is not in your ordinance. So if he puts something there, he has to dig out somewhere else in order so that that comes back to net zero. So those are some of the things that will be updated and reviewed in the technical ordinance and standards. The other thing we will put in there is that in the review fees, it's not in there now, but they've asked for us to put it in and we'll get it in there. In the ordinance is that the review fees would be paid for by either the engineer or the developer. It would not be paid by the county. So that's one thing. Which leads me to the next proposal, which is a plan review service. So if any project, be it a subdivision, industrial, warehouses, commercial, that you want reviewed by our office, we will review and submit that cost back to Steve, and then he can pass it on to the engineer or developer to be paid. Questions?
I was at the council meeting when you presented for payment. Is that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've listened to, which is why I don't have any questions.
This one has been, the proposal for the review has been approved and well, by Joel looking at it. We did some changing on it, got that done. He's okayed it. The stormwater ordinance, I think he still has a little bit to do on it, but I'd like a motion to go ahead and on his approval of anything he needs changed, that we get it changed, and then I'll get it in for signature.
Sorry. Okay. I will make the motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Sure, I've added
Based on Joel's final approval.
There we go,
No
sorry.
Review.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Green.
You have before you a zone map change ordinance, 2023-10-11-0.
Hey, Tom, could you move the microphone a little?
Better?
Is that better?
Better?
Go towards you.
How about that?
That's better.
I was going to have you stand up on a box, but that's okay. I'm here all week,
Gee whiz.
just so you know.
So this is a zone map change proposal regarding some property down on Pierce Drive, on the south side of Pierce Drive, rezoning that from agricultural to general business. This would make it pretty much match the property zoning on the north side of Pierce Drive. This was reviewed at the last Planning Commission meeting last month and was unanimously approved for presentation to you. I think Raj is here from Spiceland Venture. If you have any questions for him, other than that, I would like for your approval to present to change the zoning of these parcels.
Have any discussion amongst the board?
Real quick question, because I know there's a lady here that was at the Planning Commission. I don't know, do we allow anybody to speak?
You can if you like.
Janet, do you have anything to you're just in attendance? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that if you had something to say, we accommodated it. I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the zoning change. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Sheriff's Department.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm here on behalf of the sheriff, and we have a pretty good opportunity here. We've been doing some research on vehicles and just trying to get in a better position than what we're at. Our reserve unit fleet, there's one vehicle out right now that's 250,000, give or take a few, operating on the street. We're hurting for pool cars. We seem to always have a vehicle or two or three in a shop at any given time, and we need to continue to operate. But the sheriff has been in contact with the sheriff of Hamilton County asking if he had any vehicles, used vehicles that we could get a good deal on to help recover. We lost a reserve vehicle the other day. Another one was damaged last night. So this is it's really a good deal. The sheriff in Hamilton County actually got with Enterprise and had them lowball, give us the best rate. Obviously, I'm asking for funding through ARPA, but I do want you to hear about this deal. So they have a 2020 Ford Explorer. It's got 101,000 on it for 15,000. There's a 2018 Ford Explorer, 77,000 miles for 12,000.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Yes, ma'am.
The year and make.
Yeah. Did you get the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. The second one's a 2018 Ford Explorer, 77,000 miles for $12,000. A 2018 Ford Explorer, 77,000 miles, again, $12,000. A 2017 Ford Explorer with 58,000 miles for $11,000. And a 2018 Ford Explorer, 32,500 miles for $15,000. Every one of those vehicles will be equipped with lighting and markings, sheriff markings. They're black vehicles. They're outfitted. To outfit a vehicle is about $7,000 with all the lighting and the markings on it. So when you consider that and the unusually low mileage that these vehicles have, it's a very good deal. The sheriff is asking that you all consider $65,000 out of ARPA to purchase those vehicles. Again, it's a very good deal, and just wanted to make you all aware of that. And that'll help us when we have vehicles in the shops. That'll help our reserves drive safer vehicles. So I wanted to present that to you all and ask that you consider that.
So you know the process. There's a process with ARPA. So we have the current modified that was voted or approved or voted to amend at the last meeting before us to approve. Then it has to go to the council. If we make any changes, we can't just say, here's $65,000
Sure,
today.
I
Okay, I
understand.
just want to make sure you know what the process. So anything will have to, again, go through the whole process.
Sure.
Okay, I just want to
And
make sure.
that, so that's starting at the ARPA committee? Is the committee still in, or
committee was dissolved at the last meeting. So
Okay.
there's not an ARPA committee. It's up to the commissioners at this point. So
Okay.
I would ask if you guys would stop wrecking the cars, maybe we would, because that seems to be kind of a theme here lately.
Yeah,
We seem to
yeah.
have an awful lot of claims on
We-
destroyed cars. So
Yeah.
I do have something that a concerned citizen gave to me. I'd be more than happy to let you have here. As a matter of fact, I have several copies of it, but this is through Loan Calculator with the money that we are approving for funding, and gives you several options on cars. If you're, I know there was 3 Ford Explorers in Bloomington a week or so ago through government pricing at $44,832, and they were Police Interceptor Explorers. And I don't know if they're still there or not, but this was punched into a computer and was, I guess a bank was notified, but there was options on either 12 cars or 8 cars on either 3-year or 5-year loans. And to me, the better deal here was the 12 cars for 5 years that you could put $262,000 down, which is the money that we had already approved on our resolution. And since the council has allowed $64,000 a year for the lease program that we didn't go ahead and go through with, the yearly payment on those 12 cars would only be $67,723. So actually, the council would have to bump a little bit what they actually approved. But this would give you guys 12 cars possibly, and you can make payments on them for 5 years at $67,000, which to me, that's 12 cars. That's a pretty good chunk of cars. As long as you don't keep wrecking them, we'll be all right. And then we could get into a rotation that, to me, that would help your fleet tremendously. So, I mean, these are just a couple options that, you know, would be willing to look into, or I think you should, that would help you guys get quite a few cars at one whack. Because, I mean, you could do, if the payments wanted to be cheaper, there was 8 cars for 3 years, and the payments would be $36,000 a year, or you could do 8 cars for 5 years at $23,000. The one that didn't make a lot of sense to me was the first one there, was your 12 cars for 3 years, because that makes your payment at $105,000 a year, which I think is a little steep. So I don't know if the council would approve that or not, but those are just some options that, I mean, if that helps you get more cars quicker.
Sure. I appreciate your research on that, and I'll forward that to the sheriff and Captain Pierce over there so they can look into it as well, but I do appreciate that research that you've done. I do want to just, so Commissioner Plummer, what would be, if that's something that the commissioners are willing to look at, what I previously had mentioned, what would we need to do next?
So let's, hypothetically, a motion is made to increase your ARPA by 65 specifically for reserve cars. Joel has to take that back, redo the resolution. It comes back to the next meeting, and then it has to go for approval, and then it has to go to council. It's the same process that we just went through with the other one. It's the exact same. It's not something that we can just say, okay, here, we're going to.
Right, I understand that.
It's the same process.
Is that something that the commissioners are willing to ask Joel to do?
No, I get, Joe, your thoughts?
Does that, what we're talking about here, $65,000, theoretically, does that take the $200,000 that we had previously approved and deduct $65,000 from that, or is that $65,000?
Well, well, theoretically, we could approve the ARP. If the ARP resolution as is, they could take that $200,000 and do with it what they want. If they wanted to purchase these 5 vehicles out of that $200,000.
Commissioner Wiley, these would be, this is in addition, this would be to give us some pool cars and some reserve cars. Obviously, we rely on reserves a lot. So that would eliminate the car he's driving around today with 250,000. So, and we also, something we don't really talk about a whole lot is we have civil process, we have our transport officers. Those vehicles put on a lot of miles.
How many take-home vehicles are there?
Well, we have, if we are at max capacity, which we're not right now, there would be 28 plus.
So are those, I guess my question is the people that are taking vehicles home, are they still taking vehicle home even though you're short vehicles in other areas? Or they don't? I'm just asking a question. Could you please come to the microphone? I'm just trying to figure out how many are there take home?
27 currently.
27 take home?
There's 27 merit deputies, including the sheriff.
I'm sorry.
27 deputies across, including the sheriff.
Okay, and how many are take home?
27.
27. And how many don't have a vehicle to drive right now?
1.
So have we thought about not having the least currently to get you through right now, that the least seniority person that has a take-home vehicle, they don't necessarily have a take-home vehicle and they share it with somebody else on shift?
Sorry. You saying leave one vehicle up there like we used to do at the city for pool vehicles?
Mm-hmm. I mean, have we thought about, okay.
I mean,
it's
a temporary solution.
A temporary solution to get you through, because you're saying that you don't have enough cars for everybody.
Because this is not going to happen overnight. I mean, you're not going to get a vehicle.
We'll be able to resolve that issue. We have
Able to resolve that issue.
we have 4 vehicles we purchased from last year. They were ordered by the last administration. 3 of those are currently on the road.
They're where?
Currently out on the road and patrol.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear
We
that.
were using safety systems in Richmond, Indiana, which we've used for several years to do our maintenance or our upfitting. Thanks to the way it's going now, they got basically overextended, and the car we purchased in April is still waiting to be upfitted. Once we can get that car upfitted, the one missing car on the road will be taken care of. That will resolve itself at this point. The only reason I came up was I looked at the proposal for the lease on the vehicles. My only problem with 5 years is if we extend 12 cars for 5 years, we're gonna have 12 high mileage cars at 5 years, which are gonna require that additional maintenance. Does that make sense?
Well,
I guess it depends on how much you're driving the cars and what the mileage would be and who considers what high mileage, because
200,000 I consider high. 150 I consider high for a police car. For a personal car that doesn't drive on the county roads at the speeds we're required to do, I could make a car last probably 300,000 miles if I got a good quality car.
I was going to say, because if you rode with me, you would understand. I get 200,000 to 300,000 out of mine, and I probably.
But I'm also not calling you at 3 in the morning when somebody's breaking my house. Steve, get over here as fast as you can, as safely.
And I would be there.
Well, if you were to get involved in an accident, what you've alluded to our guys doing, you would be in some pretty serious issues. But that's beside the point. I do like this. I like looking at other sources for purchasing cars. I think Shannon sent me something. I sent something out to a place that specifically loans to governments for equipment, whether it be county highways or sheriff's departments or schools. So we're definitely exploring other options. It's just not
That was
one
just
and done.
one that.
And I do. This is awesome. I appreciate it. It's obviously it's built in just like ours, but unfortunately we could go get Durangos for $3,000 less than this. So it'd actually be better to go that way. But anyway, I do like this. But 5 years on 12 cars, my only concern would be when they all start hitting year 4 and 5, what we're looking at on maintenance, because we've taken a huge hit in maintenance in the last year because we've outsourced it to local businesses.
And I understand that, but, you're asking for, when leasing, you guys were asking for 9 cars, and that's going to do the same thing. Even if you bought it, I'm not talking leasing, anytime you buy a bunch of vehicles at once, you're going to have the same issue unless you're trading them in.
We weren't going to keep the lease cars.
Well, but you can trade. You don't have to keep 12 vehicles for 5 years. You can trade in.
But if we come to you guys and say, hey, listen, it's going to be X number after year 4, 3, 4, 5, and 6, literally coming for anything, and not to be a nasty thing, it's been a fight. Like, so I feel like when year 4 comes and we go, hey, we need more money, well, it's
Well,
not there.
in
Okay,
year
we'll
four,
just-
there's
we'll
not going to
just
be any
roll
art
on.
money,
I was
but
going
that's
to say
council.
this, and this is the, I guess, the issue, because the art money won't be there.
Oh, right,
So
it's gone.
after-
It's-
After
oh, I-
this year, this one-time thing,
I understand.
so we're trying to figure out what you're planning on doing next year, the year after, or in year 5.
And the $200,000, if it's approved from the art money, has to be expended, all of it,
By,
by 2026.
that's a few years from now.
We have to have it appropriated by 2024, and it has to be spent by 2026.
So we don't have to spend it this year, it just has to be appropriated.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, all right, so. But no, I do like this. I do like looking at other ways to fund cars. That was my only concern, was the length, because at 5
And
years.
the only
we
reason the
start
length
getting-
was on there was
To lower the
because
payments.
that got your payments
Right.
down to
3 years
what the
sound good,
council.
but the payments don't sound good. 3
No.
years sounds good to us because it gets us kind of out of the maintenance and issues,
Mm-hmm.
but it comes with a cost, and that's with everything. And you know,
And there you go, there's the other option, you could just go 8 cars, which gets your payments down.
Right.
Like I said, these were just several options that I threw out there that, was given to me, and I thought, hey, it was worth exploring, looking into, and the price on those vehicles seemed to be fairly reasonable. I thought, hey, it's an option.
and I think the way it was done in the past, and the reason it was done in the past, was for this exact thing, that in that 5 years, you're building $40,000 of interest into purchasing those 12 cars, which in the past has been looked like, that's a car. Like, when you look at finances, so if purchasing cars
The
aren't right,
financing gets you more, buying outright gets you less.
I'm
So,
well aware, but what I'm saying is.
which is why council, which is why 4 cars, because they were buying outright.
Thank you.
Just circling back to my original question, if that's something the commissioners would be willing to discuss and possibly have Joel type up that resolution. I will not take any more of your time. That would be our official request.
I guess we can discuss it when we get to the ARP resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie, do you have anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
I don't see Jenny. Nobody from the park. Jody, there's Lisa.
Butch is there.
Butch?
I know normally I say, no, I don't have anything, but I'm sorry, this time I do. But I'll make it short. Got 2 issues I want to bring to your attention. That's all I'm doing is bringing it to your attention, just so you'll be knowledgeable about it. I think you might be a little bit knowledgeable about the one, but I'm not sure if anybody's actually seen any paperwork on it, which got me to thinking last night as I was working on the grant.
He's mad.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Every time he says
well,
granny,
well,
he gives me the stink eye.
And there are 14 sections to this next section that I'm working on the grant. I've got 13 of them done, and then they give me the green light, so I'm good. The 14th one, I've got a red light on it, and it's done except for one little section, and I'm still working on that. So, with
But
the
it's a
help of-
$143,000 grant.
yeah, and with the help of the auditor's office, and there's a nice lady at the State House who is a grant administrator. She was on the phone with me for an hour and a half yesterday, and Jeff come in and helped me do some of the technical stuff. Since Brian was in Florida, we managed to get through some stuff. So I quit last night at 9 o'clock because I was tired. But I wanted to bring to you and give you a copy of I don't know if you guys have ever even got the grant application that was put in, and there was a grant application, and then there was a notice on April 21st of 23 from the state saying that we received it and it looks great. wasn't approved, but it looks okay. And then there is another documentation, and I know you don't have this because it came to somebody who sent it, well, it came to Mandy, and she sent it to me. And it's the award where on September the 18th, we were awarded that grant for the $143,000. So this is, I'm going to give you each a copy of this and Debbie a copy of this, just so you guys have it on your file. Used to be, I know we used to have, as soon as you wrote a grant, it had to be filed, it had to be in the auditor's office, it had to be processed through the county.
He didn't come for a grant number?
So that was my worry when I was working on this last night.
This
You
is why
guys, I know you knew about it, because you've heard me complain the last few days, but at the same time, I was worried that you guys did not have a copy of it. So I'm going to give you all each a copy of this so you'll have it. And it's $143,000, and basically what it does, it buys the dispatch center a consulate, which is a radio that goes in the back room that allows us to tone out on 800. And right now we tone out the emergency services, the police, not police, but the fire and the EMS, all the township fire departments, the Newcastle Fire Department on VHF. That's how they get notified that there's a fire or an ambulance run or whatever it may be, medical call. Many of them are, the township fire departments are striving to go to 800. They're getting used equipment, which is better than no equipment. We're getting hand-me-down stuff from different law enforcement agencies. They're getting new radios, but they have the VHF pagers. They don't have the 800. And the 800 actually has a better coverage in the county. So what this grant does is give us the ability to page out on 800, but it also gives each township fire department 2. So there's 32 radios, Motorola radios with pager capability to page VHF and 800 in them, so that when we page out one time, it will page out their radio, the 16 townships. 2 other officers will each have one of those radios to get notified so that they can respond to whatever emergency needs to be responded to. That was the purpose of this grant when we put it together and Glenn submitted it. So with that, again, I will, after stage 1, there are 4 more stages, and I don't know what's in them because you can't get to them until I have to get through stage 1. So once I get that one thing done, then I'll start on the next one. So,
I got a phone call that night. I got a phone call that night.
I'll give you an update on that. The other update I wanted to give you was, if you'll remember back, darn near 2 years ago, we started the upgrade of the 911 equipment, the radio and the phone equipment. Well, I have here that came in yesterday, which is what I'm being told is the final bill. We had borrowed money from B&B Leasing Company, and then they've been sitting on a big pot of money. They've been hounding me for the last 3 months. We got to get this finalized. We got to get it finalized. They've completed the work. AT&T's completed their work. Motorola's completed their work. They've been done for a long time. Motorola's paid in full through the leasing company. AT&T, Vesta Equipment, they've been done for about a month and a half, 2 months. Just couldn't get a bill from them. So I finally got a bill late last night, I guess it would be. So when I came in this morning, I sent to the lady at B&B that I deal with at the leasing company. Of course, the process is, as you guys have already approved, is there's a form I'm going to leave with you that you guys have to, and a copy of the bill. You don't pay the bill, the county doesn't pay the bill. You sign off on this, we send it back to B&B, and then they pay this bill, and then it'll be over with. There is someplace, let me find out where I wrote it at. There is, out of memory, there's $19,000 surplus funds. I checked with her to ask her what the process with that was. She said that what they usually would do, which is great with me, is every quarter I got a $37,000 quarterly payment. They're going to apply that $19,000 to my next payment, which will, because I was $20,000 short, if you'll remember, from what I was paying before. So that'll just offset for the next year, and then we'll just go forward from there. So that's my report. If you got any questions.
Thank you, Butch. Mandy, you good?
Yeah, give it to
I
Debbie.
don't see.
Scott's not here, and Tim's not here.
Nope.
Lynn didn't ask for a grant number on that?
Okay, next I have the ESRI renewal quotation from, let's see what the amount is on that. 8,000.
Yeah,
I'll say
$8,030.
$8,030. Do I have a motion to accept this quote?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, so these are the vents that we talked about for the Justice Center.
Okay,
So what these are, filtered air system 2x2 air diffusers that'll install over the vents in the Justice Center to prevent and filter. You know, we know that the lining of the ductwork is starting to break down, and we've had the State Department of Health, I forget Angela, his actual title, that came out and did the testing, but for some reason his title is going industrial hygienist. Thank you. Come out and do air, it just takes a minute to do, I think they've been out 2 or 3 times to do air quality testing, and it all comes back fine, but it's a pain in the rear end. So the vents are $74.99 a piece, and they connect magnetically up over the vents. So I don't know if we want to start with a short number, small number, and make sure that they'll work, but there's a total of 186 vents in the Justice Center. So that's why I just did a quote of 1 to get the number, how many we want to start with, or if we want to, I know in the bond, there's $417,000 left in the bond that could be utilized if we did any or all of these.
I would recommend that we have them strategically placed in the building where the most of the vent exhaust would be, to see how they work before we buy all of them.
I think they're everywhere, but, you know, we can start, I think that we'll quickly get phone calls that we want them all done. But I'm not opposed to not doing all of them at once, but we will end up doing all of them. You know how that works.
Well, I know,
You
I
know,
just want to make sure
we
they
will
work.
we will end up doing all of them. So,
I don't know what the number would be to start with. I mean, that's up to you guys. What do you think, Joe?
With the calculation of 20 to start to verify, does that make sense?
oh, wait, no, I calculated that wrong, my problem. Sorry, hang on a second. I didn't add that right, or multiply that right. That is my bad. Hang on a second. I put down the wrong number. Yeah, no, I just didn't write the correct number. Yeah, $14.99.80 is for 20 of them. And 86, 74, and if we did all 186, it's $13,948.14. So my final number is correct. It's just the number above it. It should say $74.99 times 20 instead of 186.
Is
But
there
the
any
calculation is
indication as to how long they will last before they have to be replaced?
You can replace the filters within them. They have replacement filters. The whole unit doesn't have to be replaced, it's just a filter.
Thank you.
Also, I don't have a problem starting with the 20. And are we going to have them come back and check the
Who
air
comes back?
quality, the hygienist guy, I mean, to make sure that they're actually doing their job.
Well, we don't have an air quality problem, but we have stuff coming out of the vents. So
I mean, surely
if we
everyone's
don't
going
see
to
the,
notice it.
if we don't see the, I mean, he can come back. I mean, we can call him back every month if we need to. Right. Yeah. Nuisance? Mm-hmm. Right.
I figure you're going to tell me it's a psychological thing that makes everybody feel warm and fuzzy or not.
Yeah, and they do.
I know
Yep.
the ductwork supposedly is breaking down, and I know it was causing concern that people were seeing particles. So if this does it, but I wasn't sure it was in every vent. So I don't have a problem getting them. I just, that $13,000 sticker compared to a $1,400 or $1,500.
Just remember, we have the bond now. Eventually, the bond will go away.
So I guess I'll entertain a motion.
Joe?
Make a motion for the purchase of the 20 at this time.
I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to start out purchasing 20 of the vents. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And next we have quote from Piney Engineering.
We have 3 of them.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say we have 3. First one is for bird screens for $16,594 for the outside louvers on the Justice Center. We have birds that seem to be making their way and have for quite some time inside the vents into the air handling system, which I don't believe is a good thing. And then we have, do we need to do these individually, Joe? We'll just do all 3 of them? All right. I have the one for the bird screens for $16,594.
So I would like to get a second quote on, actually on all of these. I'm not saying that they're out of whack by any stretch, but I would like to have Result Tech come in and also quote all 3 of these, obviously not giving them any information, but have them, have we gone past that point, Joel, because we've talked about it? Okay. It's always good to get a second quote on some of these. You know, we're getting into really large jobs right here. So I will make the motion to table these, but also reach out to Resolve Tech for a quote as well.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table to get a second quote or possibly even a third. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
And that's on all 3 of them.
Yes.
And may I move something up while we're talking Piney? So our maintenance agreement is set to automatically renew on the 17th of November. And we have to give 30 days if we don't want to renew it. It'll automatically renew our Piney maintenance agreement. I would also like to have somebody else come in and quote for maintenance that what Piney does. But in order to do that, we need to send a letter of termination of the agreement because we don't want it to automatically renew. Piney is more than welcome to bid the maintenance again, but we would need to send a letter out by the 17th of November in order to let them know that we're not going to automatically renew, but it doesn't mean that they're not able to submit a proposal as well. Did I explain that well enough?
Yes, I was just
Thank
going to
you.
ask Debbie, would you be willing to send that letter out?
No, I actually have a letter.
Never mind. Bobby already has a letter.
Just in case. And Joel has already reviewed it because we found out today that it was the 17th. So Joel has already reviewed it, and he is okay with the letter. And again, it's not, we're not firing Piney, but we need to terminate the renewal.
I don't have a problem getting quotes on that because we pay an awful lot of money for that building over there.
Yeah, so I will make a motion to send a letter to Piney Engineering giving notice to terminate the automatic renewal and allowing them to rebid maintenance along with whoever else wants to bid.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to send a letter to Pawnee to not automatically renew the contract for maintenance of the Justice Center and to open that up for bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I have these in different order than you have them on here. So next up, I have a discussion for the Henry County Youth Center.
We should have on the, well, you hope
See,
initiative, right?
I know, but I'll say you don't have it in mind.
Well, they just brought this here today. Yeah, she didn't have anything to put in there.
All righty.
And I think Angela is going to be,
Would someone like to step up and discuss this at this point?
Yes. So on behalf of Hope Initiative, we have some exciting news. We brought to you earlier some information about Fresh Start Housing, and Sandra came and gave you some information. We've been working with her, but one of the things that we had to do was find a dwelling in order for this project to move forward. And one of the things that is so resoundingly obvious at this point, I know for several years, different people have talked about the housing study that was done in Newcastle, and how many years ago was that? Somewhere between 8 or 9 years ago. And it validated and gave us notice that we have a housing issue, in Henry County. And so knowing that and then trying to find a home, because the Fresh Start model began with Sandra purchasing something on a tax sale that she could have gotten for less than $10,000 and with very minimal finances and a lot of help and donations, had up and running where she had a safe place that she could start this program. We have shaken every tree. We have searched. We have looked at I don't know how many houses. And I, to this day, don't know how a young couple is supposed to make it in the market, okay? So I'm just going to put that out there. There is not a tax sale house out there for us to do with what we're planning to do, all right? So we diligently tried to do that. Now where we're at is we have a house that is for sale, and it meets our needs and fits the bill. It still needs, to have an inspection and things like that. But in order for us to move forward, we're coming today to ask for an up to amount through the opioid settlement money, which we would come to you at every juncture. So obviously the first part would be if we put the bid on the house and we got the inspection and it didn't totally need gutted and rebuilt, then we would come to you and say, here's the price tag for that. And so what you have in front of you is a total of $128,100, which I would request that we just round that up to number to 130. And I'll just read quickly down for the audience so they know. So the house, there was included in that house acquisition cost. Right now, I think it's 59 and change is the asking price for it. So we rounded that just for easy math. Closing costs, the renovation and repairs, we put at $25,000. We are desperately hoping that it comes way in under that. Or if there are things that need to be done, that the homeowner will agree to do it, and then that's going to cut back on that offering price and bring that down. House insurance, liability insurance, a little bit for some basic furnishings, stove, refrigerator. And then for the program, there's a laptop and a printer. We looked at the first year worth of utilities, internet, property taxes that first year until we can get that exempt paperwork taken care of, some miscellaneous unforeseen expenses, and then we also included the consulting fee for Sandra and Fresh Start Housing. So for that first 15-month program, this would be up to that $20,000, and it really would depend on how much guidance we would need her actually meeting with us and doing those things. So that certainly could come in a little bit under that as well.
So the way this is going to work is Hope purchases the house, does all of this. I know that, I think we're working on a director to move in. I know that's in the works. And then Hope will transfer the house, sell the house, transfer the house.
At some point, not within that first 15 months.
Okay.
The first cycle, if you will, of the program is basically getting the director Jamie, okay, we're going to work that out with her job description so that she's trained to do that. And then obviously we'll be looking for somebody interested that we can bring on board. And then a lot of this, depending on how full we can, build the occupancy up in the house, the utilities, obviously, that's going to come from the program fees.
Right, and that's going to take a few months to get all of that
And it's
built
going
up
to
to do
take
that.
some time to get all of the occupants in there and jobs and working through that program. So they start out at like $200 a month program fee for the first month, maybe two, and then they're expected to have employment, and then after so long, that fee goes up.
And my guess is when Hope sells the house, then that money, I would hope, that money would go into a fund that would fund the next house
Absolutely.
to be purchased for fresh housing. Is that correct?
Correct. So it
Okay.
would perpetuate it itself. Absolutely.
Okay.
And when we get to that point,
It'll be a while before it's
it'll be a
to
while
that
before we
point.
get, but yeah, the money will stay.
We could put something like that in an agreement. Sure. Nothing against Hope, but I know that that's what you guys will probably end up doing anyway, but just to, it's either an MOU or some
Could
type
be.
of agreement, yeah, that, okay. And I know that, because I've been in part of these meetings, I haven't been to the last three, I think. And I know this house it's not yet on the market, but it's coming on the market very quickly.
And that was the reason that we wanted to get you at least a solid draft, and keep in mind, this is a draft, this is a
Right.
fluctuation.
And again,
of
the
things.
whole process with opioid is the same as the ARP.
With the art money, knowing
So,
that.
Yeah, so
Right.
we would make it, let's assume the motion is made to do this, then it goes to Joel, he does a resolution, next meeting it comes back to us to approve the resolution, goes to the council for their.
On that very
approval.
next day, and that would be our hope,
Right.
to get that to the council, to a resolution to the council on the 26th.
Using that word a lot, aren't you?
We are using that word. Hope's good, having hope. Okay, any questions at all about that?
I don't have questions because I've been at some of these
Sure,
meetings,
sure.
so.
And I think we've been informed on most of this as far as what the process was and what you guys were looking at doing. So I think, as far as I know, we're all aware of this.
Joe, do you have any questions?
No, I've been following
Same
all
thing, yeah,
along.
same thing.
I understand it.
Okay. With that, I'll make a motion to approve up to $130,000 of the opioid settlement monies to be approved for Hope Initiative Women's Transitional Housing. Oh, sorry.
Just to be completely transparent,
Uh-huh.
when you buy a house, you put the bid in, and we make the inspection, pending the acceptance of our offer. So if this particular house doesn't go through, we'll continue to look.
Yes, this
And it'll
is
be
not
the-
for a specific, I want to make sure it's not
Okay,
for a
thank you.
specific house, it's just for purchasing of a home. We know that this may fall through. I hope it doesn't, but.
But yes,
and
correct.
it doesn't need to be house-specific.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Debbie, did you get, you'll watch it to get your minutes. So I will make that motion if you want me to restate the motion. I will make the motion to approve up to $130,000 for women's transitional housing with Hope Initiative. How's that? That makes it
There you go.
better.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. And just for what it's worth, we will have 4 ladies ready to move in December if we can make this happen.
Oh, that'd be
That'll
wonderful.
come directly out of JCAP.
That'll be wonderful.
So, thank you.
Next,
Yeah, now we're to the Henry County Youth Center.
gonna say discussing of having Piney and/or Resolve Tech to examine the HVAC system at the Henry County Youth Center for the upgrades in order to,
Of the facility. So, we are looking at it, and it was, Judge Witham was here to talk about it in a public meeting, so, everybody knows that we are looking at the possibility of potentially reopening the Henry County Youth Center. Talking to Danny Vitito, who does work out there, there are issues with the chiller and HVAC, and all of those are going to have to be either fixed and or upgraded, probably mostly upgraded, before we can do any openings. So I have reached out to several other counties, and there are counties interested in utilizing this if we open, but we're going to have to get some, obviously, things fixed and upgraded, and I want to kind of get that cost before we start in-depth conversations with all the other counties so we know where we're at. So I would like to have Piney and Resolve Tech both go in and examine the HVAC system. I don't know if it'll cost us anything for them to do that, but have them examine the HVAC systems and the chillers and get us the cost of what it would take to fix and or upgrade to get it in a manner that we can open the facility if we so choose.
is that your motion?
Yep.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to allow Piney and Resolve Tech to give us quotes on fixing the HVAC system in the youth center. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And next is,
Oh, I wish Jamie hadn't left. That's okay.
I
I
was
can talk about
gonna,
this one as well.
I'll say this is for the opioid request for the JCAP program. Total amount requested is $12,712.50. Would you like to address that,
Yeah, so
Bobby?
this request came from Dick Rogers at the JCAP program. New Direction, it's a treatment program for criminal justice settings. They already have, I'm not sure when the jail purchased, but a few years ago, the jail purchased the facilitator's guide for this program. This New Direction is a 12 two-hour sessions for a total of 24 hours. There will be each male group, there'll be 4 of them. This will serve up to 16 clients. Of course, each female right now is going to be 4. There'll be 12 two-hour sessions. This program, it's an evidence-based treatment program for criminal justice settings that treats substance use disorders and criminal behaviors at the same time. Research outcomes boast reductions in all 3 recidivism measures: rearrest, reconviction, and reincarceration. The cardinal behavioral approach of A New Direction identifies challenges and replaces distorted thinking to change criminal and addictive behavior patterns and support long-term recovery. So Dick asked this request to get the rest of the books. The workbooks are $9.95 if they purchase 100, or $7.95 if they purchase 150 or more. So it looks like they're going for 150. And then the facilitator's fee to run this program is an additional $11,520. So the total amount requested of the opioid funds is $12,712.50. And I think that this will add one more spoke to the wheel of the JCAP programs that we are working on in the jail to hopefully help people transition out, that they can go to the transitional housing and live a better life for themselves. So with that, I will make a motion to approve it.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve that request. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
Motion carries 3-0. Next on the itinerary is appointing Terry Matney to the Cemetery Commission.
And Travis Lyle, it looks like. Appoint Henry Township Trustee Travis Lyle and Terry Matney.
Yes, I can say
I
this.
didn't see it till just now either.
Henry Township Trustee Travis Lyle to fill the term, and also request Prairie Township Trustee Terry Matney to be reappointed to another term for his job also ends at the end of the year to the fact that the term of Mike License has expired as board member of the Henry County Cemetery Commission. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, we have a quick claim deed for the Elliott Cemetery to Henry Township. Anything I need to know about this, Joel?
No, I mean, I think that for many years, it's been treated as being operated by the township, and I think everyone was under the impression that the township actually owned it, so
I thought they did too.
this makes it official.
Travis,
Okay.
do you have anything to say? Okay. I will make a motion to accept the quick claim deed and transferring the property officially over to Henry Township.
Second.
Before I ask for a vote, does this mean, Travis, you are not going to ask me to mow it, right? Is that what it is? All right, with that,
Could I
motion's
add-
been
Oh, go ahead.
made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thanks, Travis. I'm going to add one more thing in here before we get into resolutions. Sorry. So last night I met or appeared before the Historic Preservation asking for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish and rebuild our maintenance building, and it was approved. So yay on that. We just have to put this in a conspicuous area. And the bids that we did receive are more than 30 days old, so I will be contacting the contractors for them to upgrade their bids to demolish and rebuild, to make sure that they are correct, and hopefully at the next meeting we can
They will be.
choose one. Yeah, hopefully at the next meeting we can choose one and get this process started. Maintenance has almost gotten everything moved completely out and into the transition center. So whenever we're ready to go, they will be ready to go.
Okay. Thank you for that. And next, we have an ordinance opting to appoint a member of the Board of Directors of Community Mental Health that serves Henry County. This is ordinance 2023-10-11-010. Any discussion?
This appoints Jay Davis, Henry County Jail Commander, to the board. Originally, we had appointed Judge McCord, but there was a conflict with Judge McCord in his position and Meridian Health, as I think he refers from his courts. So Jay Davis was asked, and he has agreed to accept that position.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve that ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Sorry.
Pay attention, Bobby.
I know.
Motion carries 3-0. Now we have Resolution 2023-10-11-017, amending the Henry County for an expenditure for the coronavirus funds. I really don't want to read all of this, so I will go to the
29.
sum of $455,000 for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment to be allocated as follows: $110,000 for EMS, up to $60,000 for weights and measures, up to $85,000 for EMA, and $200,000 for the Henry County Sheriff's Department. Is there any discussion? If not, do I have a motion?
So I'll make a motion so we can move forward on this one. I will make a motion to accept option 29, or option's not the right word, but you guys know what I'm talking about, for the $455,000, and then we can discuss the other stuff.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the resolution and approve it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And we have
Do you want to go back to the
it's up to you. We can
sheriff's
do that.
request? Oh, while we're on it, I guess. Or do you want to, let's go ahead and finish the rest, and we'll go back to that.
Okay. Now I have Resolution 2023-10-018, resolution designating the approved timekeeping system through Right Stuff. This resolution makes it official, but our handbook said that all departments were used the adopted timekeeping system that the county commissioners had approved. There seems to be some conflict, so this says now that the official timekeeping system in the county is Right Stuff. Any discussion?
Nope. I agree that, we signed the contract, we approved it. We shouldn't have to do the resolution, but I will make a motion to accept Resolution 2023-10-018. Right Stuff Timekeeping is hereby designated as the sole county adopted timekeeping system.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Now we have Resolution 2023-10-11019. This is regarding the Bells of Peace. I think we do this every year, I believe. At least we have since I've been in office. Basically, it's whereas a century ago, 4.7 million American families sent their sons and daughters off to World War I, whereas men and women in Henry County served selflessly and honorably in World War I, whereas 116,516 Americans gave their lives in war and more than 200,000 were wounded, whereas the tolling of the bells is a traditional expression of honor and remembrance, whereas in November of 2018, the world commemorated the 100th anniversary of armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. Whereas on April 6th of 2018, the United States World War I Centennial Commission called upon all Americans across the nation to toll bells in remembrance of those who served in World War I on Armistice Day. Now therefore it be resolved that Henry County does hereby call upon all its citizens to toll bells in remembrance of those who served in World War I at 11 a.m. on November 11th of 2023.
I will make a motion to approve, and we always toll our bells. One of us will be up here doing it on Veterans Day.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. That is all that I have, other than if you want to go back and we discussed, I don't know how you want to do that, whether you want to include that in or add an extra.
Well, I don't have I know that the reserves need vehicles. I will make the motion for this total $65,000, is that correct? For these 5 specific vehicles, but I'm going to say that it must be specifically purchased for these vehicles and for the reserves.
I do have a question, Josh. On the one vehicle that was 100,000 miles,
Yeah.
it seems to be the newest one. Are you sure with the discussion we're having about mileages on vehicles, is that one that you really want to purchase with that mileage on it? Or is that part of the deal and it's a package thing no matter what? Or
I don't think it's necessarily a package thing. It does have over 100,000. With it being a vehicle that's not driven continuously, I don't know that it's as big of a problem. I think the fact that just the whole deal that we're getting, I think it's worth the money. With it being upfitted, and if it's used for reserves and pool cars, Commissioner Plummer, if that's okay there.
Okay, I will amend my motion to reserve and pool, but,
Yeah. So I don't think that's an issue. Matt, if you have any comment on that?
But it'll only need to be in a pool car as if if a car is broken down or
Correct. Yes.
wrecked. And I know accidents happen.
I was giving you a hard time, I hope you know that.
Accidents happen. So, he said he was giving me a hard time earlier about if you guys could stop having all the accidents, that would be wonderful, please, and thank you.
I hear there is driving school, though.
Hey, look, 2 years ago, side story, I was sitting in a parking lot waiting to pull out, and somebody hit another car and then hit me head on. I wasn't even moving. So, I mean, accidents happen. So I make the motion.
Best $10 I spent.
So I'm going to remake the motion so it is clear. So I'm going to make the motion to approve for these 5 vehicles to be used for reserves, primarily reserves, can be used for pool car on an as-needed basis, but this money will be spent on these specific cars primarily for reserves and needed with a pool car on an as-needed basis.
Is that 65,000 coming from that 200,000?
No, it's an additional. We've already approved the 200,000.
Okay. I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Mrs. Sanders is here.
Any comment from the public?
My name is Melanie Sanders Douglas, and I want to thank you for okaying to tow the bells because my dad's father was shot in World War I, laid on in France on battlefield for 3 days. They thought he was dead until they realized he wasn't, and they wasn't sure he'd make it home, but he made it home, and I want to thank you for that. But I came to see if you guys made a trip through the south part of the park, or you found out that anything, you guys can do anything to get the south part of the park in condition?
You haven't had an opportunity to review it. Joel hasn't, he was given this, he hasn't had an opportunity, we've kept him kind of busy. He hasn't had an opportunity to review it. So can we have a review by our next meeting? He'll have an opportunity to review it.
Okay.
I apologize. We've kept him pretty busy the last couple months.
Because I've only been coming here for a year because Casey
I
from
understand.
the secretary told me what to do this way because we've not had my dad's shelter for, it'll be 5.5 years, 6 years come the fourth Saturday in June this way.
And the Expo has still said that they don't have the funds to build it. Is that correct? That is correct. They have, okay.
And they are supposed to do that, but also with that part of the park, they had they had 2 restrooms, one under the Phillips shelter and the other one in the back corner. The back corner was working last time last time we had our family reunion there, which is 2017. After, I don't know if it came from them hooking up to the water at my dad's shelter, Joe Sanders' shelter, or what, but the restrooms at the back are not working at all, and that's not good for the public this way.
No, there's no water supply up there, as my understanding as of right now, and that's why they're not working. So, and until they get the water issue resolved on the South 90, it's going to be very difficult to have working restrooms over there. So I haven't heard from the Expo board if they've made any progress on that. I know they're working on, FBPH is doing a study over there to see what they can do for them, but that's as far as I know, that's where it's at right now.
Okay, because I know that, like, we used it then, and Jake Martin, the president of Expo Board, has been very generous. He doesn't charge us for renting the Phillips shelter, but he also goes ahead and has porta potty brought over for us to use, but I don't know if he uses for the other shelters that's being rented out and everything this way.
Don't think
But
so.
it's not right. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.